So to kick us off for our first session, we will hear from Natchi Lazarus. He hails from India, and I'll let him introduce himself a little more. But he is an author of the Connected Church. But what I hear and understand from this brother, whom I just met also, but it's a heart to serve the body of Christ. So he's going to talk about the top 3 focus areas to effectively minister from a distance. So without further ado, let me welcome Natchi Lazarus. Over to you.
Thank you, Simon. Thank you. It's an honor and privilege to be here. And I want to straight away get started. In terms of introduction, like he said, I'm from India, and you can know more about me if you visit my site, natchilazarus.com. But other than that, I would like to go straight into the content because I have a lot to cover today and I only have a few minutes. And let's get started. I want to start with this, just letting you know that this is a time when we need to be extremely audience focused, because people are, we can't see them. We can't interact with them like we used to. So everybody is remote and they're out there. So it's important for us as a church leaders, as ministry leaders, to be very conscious of every single thing that your audience is going through. So whoever God has called you to do, I would say take a few minutes, think about who those groups are, who those people are, what their lifestyle is, what they're going through in a time as this specifically, and how you can minister to them in the most meaningful way possible. To help you do that, I'm going to start my presentation with 3 big audience needs. Next slide, please. The first need that people have is they need more content because people have more time. So people are sitting at home, they're working out of home, they are in their places, they are isolated, they are quarantined, or whatever the words that we use at this point in time. People are having a lot of time in their hand, right? And what do we do when we have time in our hands? We pick up our phone, right? That's what all of us do. And that's what your audience are also doing. They are picking up their phone, they're spending time, they're going through their news feeds, they're checking the news, they're doing all sorts of things in their digital devices, which means they have more time in their hand on the digital platform than they ever did. And what do they need at this point in time from you and me as church leaders? They need more content, because as church leaders, if we are able to give them more content, then we occupy more mind space. So as a body of Christ, it's important for us to, at this point in time, rise up and start creating content that will occupy the mind space of people, because if you don't fill it, somebody else is going to fill it. It's something else is going to fill it. Next slide, please. If you see this statistics from January 2020, just a couple of months ago, but when this statistics was released, COVID-19 was still not a big problem. So you would see, even at that point in time, people were spending 6 hours and 43 minutes on the internet every day. 2 hours, 24 minutes on social media every day. Now, I'm sure that this number is going to shoot up the roof if we look at after post-COVID situation. People have a ton of time in their hand and they're going to consume content. So I want to encourage you to start thinking about what content you can create to occupy that mind space of people. That is my first point. People have more time, therefore they need more content. Number 2, my next point is people are fearful. There is fear, there is uncertainty, there is stress, there is anxiety, and they need encouragement. So whatever content that you're going to create after learning here, after learning in other platforms, whatever you're going to create, have the element of encouragement. We are people builders. We are builders of broken walls. That's what God has called us to do. So have this element of encouragement. People need encouragement. They don't need more news. They have enough and more news out there to scare them. We need to build them up and give them a word of encouragement. So keep that in mind, and your content will definitely succeed in this digital world, even if it is crowded, if you have that element of encouragement. So that is another digital tip, content creation tip for you. Number 3, the next point is people are isolated and therefore they need a community. This is a huge need in the hearts of people. We are social beings. We love to talk to people. We love to interact with people, but we can't do that now, right? So how can we as a church, as a ministry, as people, a body of Christ, how can we create this community for people, even with all these restrictions going on. So there are some ways to do that. I'll talk about that in a minute, but these are the three big needs that I would like you to be aware of even before you start creating your digital strategy: the need for good content, the need for encouragement, and the need for community. Now let me go to the core topic that I want to talk about today, which is the top 3 focus areas to effectively minister to people from a distance. The number one area of focus for you as a ministry should be content migration to a digital world. See, most of you listening to me already have enough content. You have videos, you have audio, you probably have written a lot of blog posts, or you've probably written books. People have you have written a lot of emails. Maybe you've written even text messages that could be useful for people. Now, here is a strategy. Start thinking about, how can I collect all this content? I'll give you an example. There's a ministry that I work with that has created a ton of infographics. They've created content like how to be a good parent, how to be a good father, a good mother, all of these as infographics. And they posted 6 months ago, 8 months ago, in all the days ahead that has gone past us. But now what I'm advising them is to pick up all that content and start collecting them. Maybe put together ebooks, because whatever was in the past, it's not gone. This is evergreen content. Most biblical content that you and me create comes under evergreen content. In digital world, there are 2 types of content: timely content and evergreen content. Timely content is more like a news. It's important for the time, but it goes away. It's not relevant all the time. But evergreen content stays on and on and on. People can use it for a long period of time. Biblical content is evergreen. So don't ignore your past content. Try to pick up all your past content, try to have your present content, and try to compile them for people now, because now is when people have more time. For the next few weeks in India right now, just last night, our Prime Minister announced a shutdown for 21 days as a country. So next 21 days, people are at home and they have time, 20 days. Right? What a great opportunity for us to present all content that we've created earlier. So that is the first thing. Try to collect all your content and do a content migration to the digital space. Number 2, the area to focus on is your online community building. Think of 2 levels of online community building. One is macro community building, another is micro community building. What do I mean by that? Macro community is wider community. For example, having a Facebook group for your church is a macro community, which includes everybody, all sorts of people. Now, try to go micro as well. When I say micro, try to group people even in a shorter group of collection. For example, cycle ministry, bicycle ministry, or kids ministry between the age of 5 and 7. Try to be as specific as possible. Now, for these people, you could create another Facebook group, or you could also have WhatsApp groups, right? You can have messenger groups, WeChat groups, whatever works for you. But build in that community, spend time every day, create content exclusively for that community. So when you create content strategy, not just high level content, preaching content, that's good. That's for your macro community. But for your micro community, you got to drill down and create specific content for young people, content for young people, content for partners, content for families, content for fathers. So things like that. Think about your online community building. This is a time to build online community and fulfill that need of people for wanting to be in community. And finally, number 3 is church growth strategy. Yes, I said church growth, not just managing, not just wondering what's going to happen to your church because you can't meet them every week, but actually growing your church. Social media has this word called social for a reason. Originally, social network was invented because when you like something, all your friends start seeing that content, right? We all know that, right? That is called existing and extended audience concept. So when somebody likes your content on social media, guess what? 100 other friends that they know also seeing their content. So as church leaders, as ministry leaders who are creating content, have this in your mind when you create content, because I think this is the time for you to grow your church audience. Because not only your church members are seeing your content, but when they like and interact and engage with your content, guess who's seeing? all their family, all their friends who may not be in a church environment at this point in time, they are also looking at that content. So this is an incredible opportunity for you to actually grow your church, because when we get out of the situation, guess what? More people would have got exposed to your message, and they will have an opportunity to be connected with your church. So private media engagement and social networking, leveraging all those two strategies that can help you do that. I've got my last 30 seconds, so I'm going to sum it up with the last 3 points. Top 3 focus areas: digital content migration, online community building, and church growth strategies. I've got a resource for you which gives you 50 plus tools and resources for live streaming, digital, what kind of camera to buy, all sorts of questions answered, and you will have that. The team, indigenous team, will tell you how to access that, but that's the URL. That's it from me. God bless you. May God be with you. Thank you for your time. God bless you.